Hello everyone, welcome back to OpenGeology. We are here discussing about the CIL previous year questions. This is part 5. We will see from question 41 to 50. This is paper number 2017. Okay, but before you begin, you can join our CIL Geologist test series. There are 100 plus tests. Okay, you can download our app or go to the website and join this test series. You can also look for the other papers like NET, GATE, GSI. Okay, so let's begin with the first question, that is acid rocks have. So acid rocks have more than 66% of the SiO2. So rocks are classified based on SiO2 content. So we have the acid rocks, intermediate rocks, basic rocks and ultra basic rocks. Okay, so you should remember all of these three rocks and the CiO2 content of these. Another question, a mass of salt that has flowed ductility upward and discordant pierced through the overburden is called as the salt diapier. So what happens is during the molten material is coming upward and this is fracturing the overburden and creating a dome-like structure, that is salt dome. So we call that a salt diapier. Okay, so what others you can learn about the discordant and concordant bodies like the CIL, dike, laccolith, stocks, okay, dikes, batholith. So all of these terms and their associated definitions. Okay, so this is a kind of diapirism, their stages. Okay, first stage, second, third, fourth. Okay, so you can go through that, although it is not necessary, but you can go. If you are preparing for GSI, this is important, you should learn this. Then a magnetic field at the equator is how much compared to the pole? So at equator it is 1/2. Okay, so if pole has the magnetic field as A, equator will have the A/2, just half of that. So you should learn about the magnetic definitions like the what is geographic meridian, geomagnetic meridian, geographic parallel, what is the inclination, what is the declination. Okay, so all of these three things you should remember. Another question is silicon side striations on a fault plane have a pitch of 90 degree. Then what will be the fault? Let's say this is a fault. Okay. Okay, so this is a fault. You can say like this also. Okay, so these are the striations. If the striations are making 90 degree angle, that means the block has moved exactly towards the dip direction. And if it moves towards the dip direction, we call it as a dip slip fault. Okay, so you should remember what is the dip slip fault, strike slip fault, oblique slip fault, what is the rake, okay, what is the pitch, and how these things are changes with the different type of fault movement. Another question is a primary difference between the phyllite and schist. So it is a grade of metamorphism. So you know, whenever we talk about the metamorphism, it's all about the start with the CIL. Although it can be any rock, but in general case, CIL, it will be converted into the slate will be converted into the phyllite, and phyllite is the schist is the gneiss. Okay, so first option will be our right answer. Another question is a clastic rock comprised of sand-sized grains which is derived from the physical weathering of granite and also containing a significant portion of feldspar. So you should remember the sandstone classification. Okay, so here you can see there is a triangle, quartz, feldspar and the lithic fragments. So if a rock is consists of 95% or more quartz, we call it as quartz arenite. Then you have the different fields like for the subarcose, for the arkose and same for the sublitharenite. And if you have the more amount of feldspar, we call it arkosic arenite. and if more lithic fragments, we call it as the lithic arenites. Okay, and as the ground mass is increasing, we call it as a wake. Okay. If there is 15% matrix, we call it wake, like the quartz wake. Same, lithic say lithic wake, feldspathic say feldspathic wake. If it is more than that, simply we call it as a wakes, and if the grain size further decrease, it will be mudstones. Now, if the lithic fragments can be further divided into the, if it is volcanic, then volcanic arenite. If it is sedimentary rock fragments, lithic calcitic arenite. If there is metamorphic fragments, we call it the phyllorennite. So you should remember all of these sandstone classification. Also the limestone classification you should remember. Another question is kyanite sterolite schist represents. So it represents a paletic protolith. So there are the different rocks which are produced from the different protolith. Like if you have the limestone, it will produce a marble after the metamorphism. If you have a shale, that will produce a gneiss. Okay. Let's say if you have another rock like hornblende, it will produce a different rock. And so these are the different rocks which are produced. Through shale you can also get like the flight or the schist. Okay, so you can go to the JD Winter. Okay, there is a table in the metamorphic part. It is given about the protolith and the possible metamorphic rock that can be produced. So just read about that table. Another question is, what is the half-life of carbon-14? So half-life of carbon-14 is 5,730 years. Now different parent material and the different decays with the half-life. So you should remember about the carbon, uranium, lead, potassium, argon and rubidium. These are the most important. Other things you can simply ignore. Another question is, which grain boundary migration controls the crystal lattice deformation? The process is known as the Coble creep. Okay, so there are different other processes like the okay, this one is the diffusion creep. You have the grain boundary migration. Okay, you have the dislocation creep. Okay, dislocation. So all of these terms you should remember, and how this happens is these are part of two things. Like first one is the crystal deformation. Okay, it is also mentioned in the JD Winter in terms of the metamorphism. Okay, so you should learn all of these three things. Another question is, the present Earth atmosphere has formed due to which of the following? It is because of the degassing of Earth's interior. So you can say there was a question asked in CSIR net that first oxygen comes from. If you put the answer because of the blue-green algae, okay, that is you can say the cyanobacteria. This is wrong. First oxygen came from the degassing of Earth's interior. So many students have put this wrong in the CSIR net exam. So the correct answer is the degassing of Earth's interior. It's all about for today. Hope you like this video. Again, you can join our CIL Geologist test series. Okay, there are 100+ tests belongs to all like the Aptitude, Reasoning, General English, General Awareness and the Geology, along with the 11 full length test. Okay, so it's all about for today. Thank you.